Hello everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome back to the Gamecube version of Pikmin. We are on day number 9. We have almost accomplished our goal of finishing the first Pikmin game in 10 days, but in order to do that, we need to get the last 4 parts in the distant spring first. Which thankfully, even though it sounds like a bit of a daunting task, as collecting 4 parts in a day usually is, but thankfully, only one of the ship parts that we're going to be dealing with today actually will require a lot of extra work in order to get it. The rest of them are relatively simple in how you get to them and how you get them back to camp. But in order to get them back to camp as quickly and efficiently as possible, we need to collect some bomb rocks and blow down that last bomb rock gate that's right next to camp. If we don't, our Pikmin will be required to walk the parts all the way around the map, and yeah, that would be no good for us. And honestly, with that big gate there and all the other enemies and stuff I needed to blow up with explosives, it's another reason why I really wanted to make sure I had 3 days to work with in the distant spring. Just having a finite number of bomb rocks to really have and deal with and use to our advantage, it does sort of hinder how quickly you can get things done here. So you really gotta make use of as much time as you can possibly muster, because once you use up all your bomb rocks for the day, you don't have them anymore, and you have to wait for the next day for them to respawn. It's a bit annoying, but that's just the way the game works, I guess. And here is the big gate in question. It takes 9 bomb rocks to blow this sucker down, and it's 9 bomb rocks that we needed elsewhere on day 7 and 8, so yeah, you know. Thankfully though, this is the last time we're really going to need bomb rocks on this map. We don't have to worry about it otherwise. And now that this gate is open, it does give the Pikmin a much quicker path in order to carry things back to camp. Like, right up here is going to be a ship part for us, and a bit of a 3D maze that we need to figure out. We gotta kind of go up and around and down in order to get our Pikmin from one area to the next. And there's not a lot of room to work with either, so bringing a huge squad of Pikmin up with you, probably not recommended. Thankfully, the ship part in question that we are about to get is, I believe, the lightest ship part in the game. So we don't need a lot of Pikmin to actually get to it. This guy, right up here. Just toss some yellows up there after tossing them up a couple levels and kind of wandering around, and we find the UV lamp. The only problem with this handheld light is that it is too bright to see it. Too bright at times. I have to remember to wear my sun visor when I look at it. Probably shouldn't look directly into the light anyway, Olimar. I don't think it's good for you. That's not how a UV lamp typically is used, I don't think. But yeah, it only takes 10 parts. 10 Pikmin to carry the part back. So, thankfully, it's a bit of a puzzle to get it, but not terribly bad. You're not really going to be pulling your hair out too much dealing with that, and you're not going to be pulling your hair out dealing with Pikmin, like, falling all over the place, because you'd only need 10 of them to even get the part back. So there you go. One more part down. The UV lamp. This handy light is great for tanning, but it doesn't seem to have any relation to the dolphin's flight capabilities. I doubt that it will affect my escape from this planet. Perhaps there are other parts like this as well. I have now recovered 26 of 30 parts. If I can find just 3 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And yeah, Olimar spells in no uncertain terms there that the UV lamp is one of the optional parts. It's one of the 5 that you don't need in order to escape from the planet of the Pikmin. Though unfortunately, the rest of the optional parts are not spelled out as clearly that you don't need them. You can kind of use process of elimination sometimes, just ship parts like the UV lamp that don't necessarily seem like they're functional for, they're like functionally needed for space travel. But at the same time, there's lots of parts like that are required. So it doesn't make too much sense. And we need to deal with this guy. We need to finally get rid of him and get him out of the way so he's not blowing our Pikmin everywhere. And he's just a bit of a butt because he's really difficult to catch up with. The puppy blowhogs just do this thing where they travel at a pace equal to Olimar's running speed, and it just makes it a pain to catch up with them and like make your mark with your Pikmin. So you would just end up throwing Pikmin everywhere, and it creates a huge mess. I mean, look at them all. But if you don't deal with them, they end up just blowing your Pikmin everywhere anyway. They just... Their purpose is to be annoying, basically. But anyway, he's out of this way. He's out of the way. That's the last puffy blowhog we're gonna have to deal with in the main story of Pikmin. The main mode. And this is the part that requires a lot of extra work in order to get. We can get our blue Pikmin sort of across the pond here to where the part is. However, they can't actually get to it. It is a little too high up, and we need yellows in order to actually reach the part and get it down. Which is where the Candypop Bud here comes into play. By throwing 10 Pikmin at a time into the Candypop Bud, it causes our blue Pikmin to turn into yellow Pikmin. And we then need to re-pick them and throw them across in order to get to where the part actually is, so they can get it down, and then we can switch them back to blue Pikmin in order to walk the part actually back to camp. It takes a bit of extra thinking, but at the same time, it's not too terribly bad. It's just a lot of busy work, I guess, because you need to replant your Pikmin in order to pick them again, and then in order to get them back, you need to do the whole process a second time. And the only other problem here, as I accidentally lead some yellows into the water, because, yeah, I didn't realize they were stuck on the Candypop Bud. The only other problem here is that it really showcases Olimar's short throwing range in the GameCube version of Pikmin. More on that in a second, because we found the Chronos Reactor. Using strange new technology, this machine is able to warp the space-time continuum and turn it into energy. I am constantly amazed at how many mysteries are locked inside the parts of my ship. Very nice. But yeah, Olimar's throwing range in the GameCube version of Pikmin. In this particular instance, and in one later instance, you are expected to, like, basically throw your Pikmin at the maximum possible range Olimar can throw them. If you're a little too short, the Pikmin will fall into the water and they will start to drown, and that's no good for anyone. And you really have, like, barely enough distance in order to make it work. You could even see that I was having trouble even getting the blue Pikmin up top to get to the yellow Candypop Bud, because of, like, where you had to stand and, like, the distance that Olimar can throw them. and it's just kind of a problem. It really is. Olimar's throwing range is not great in the first Pikmin, and Pikmin, the GameCube version of Pikmin 2 by extension. And, like, if you throw too many Pikmin into one spot, they sort of start to, like, displace each other and move around, and sometimes they can just end up falling off into the water like that, too. It's just a pain. It really is. We've also found the number 2 Ionium Jet. It's easy on the eyes, and its fuel efficiency is easy on the budget. Very nice. Thankfully, the limited throwing range does not hinder us too much throughout the entire game. It's really that instance and one instance that we'll see on the final day here. And also, thankfully, any throwing range problems are completely just eliminated in the Wii version of this game, because Olimar can throw Pikmin much farther. Speaking of throwing Pikmin, it's time to take on another armored cannon beetle and clog up his intake valve so we can knock some sense into him. As we can watch in the background, our ship parts make their way back to camp. The armored cannon beetle here is in possession of the last part of the distant spring. And we need to take him out in order to actually get it. Unlike the one in the Forest of Hope, which was just kind of standing guard in front of the part. The Kronos reactor is back, by the way. Kronos reactor. This reactor changes the permutations of the space-time continuum into pure energy. Basically, it's like a big rubber band. I have now recovered 27 of 30 parts. If I can find just 2 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And we go right back to tossing Pikmin. And finding the last part of the distant spring, the bowsprit. With this piece installed, my ship should regain some of its sleek shape. And the number 2 Ionium Jet is back too. Hooray. It's just, things are happening. Lots of things are happening. Very nice. The number 2 Ionium Jet, the ads for these jets boast with excellent mileage that's easy on the family budget. This jet will keep your wife smiling and propel you to a happy home life. I have now recovered 28 of 30 parts. If I can find just 1 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And wouldn't you know it, that 1 more part is right here. We just need to pile on as much Pikmin as possible, and we are actually on our way to being finished with the distant spring in relatively good time. We're actually going to have a little time at the end of the day to sort of work with here. It'll give us an opportunity to maybe get ourselves a few more Pikmin and get more flower Pikmin too, because we're going to need all the sort of extra oomph we can get on the last day. Though I don't think I end up actually growing any more Pikmin. I mainly just focus on gathering some nectar and getting some flowers so we have a maximum speed in order to work with. So we need to do a little bit of reorganization here. You can see I'm kind of puttering around trying to figure out what I want to do. Gotta put some blues back so we can get some reds out. Because, yes, we are going to actually need the red Pikmin in the future, on the last day. It's definitely gonna be required. For as much as we just didn't use the red Pikmin at all during the distant spring, thankfully, I'm sure they're very happy, too, that they can put in a little extra work on the last day upcoming. Get all these guys out, though honestly, it looks like most of these guys are already flower Pikmin. We've just got a few buds in order to deal with that situation. And knocking on the rocks in order to get some nectar, because there's nectar in rocks for some reason. And the bowsprit is back. I think I'm saying that right. The bowsprit. The so-called face of the dolphin, in point of fact, I designed it. I have recovered 29 to 30 parts, increasing the dolphin's capabilities. My search can now cover a wider area. And with that, the dolphin is almost completely complete. There's only one ship part remaining, and this unlocks the final area of the first Pikmin. Of course, we've got a little time left in the day before we can actually finish up and get to that point. But, yeah. We are officially on our way to actually finishing the first Pikmin game in only 10 days. Something that a younger me really had no idea he would be able to accomplish something like that. Because when I played the first Pikmin on Gamecube initially, I didn't do very well. I mean, I guess that's to be expected from anyone playing a game for the first time. But, I'd say that considering I'm capable of cutting out 2/3 of the entire game experience, I'd say I've come a long way as far as my Pikmin skills are concerned. It just goes to show you that a little practice and a little hard work, and you can accomplish great things, as long as those great things involve playing Pikmin. Because I can't really say this particular set of skills I have is applicable to many other situations, but, you know, it's still something that I'm proud of. The last few seconds of day 9 count down, and in a few moments, with Olimar and the Pikmin running around and partying, we will be done, and we will be on our way to literally the final challenge. That's what the last area is called. The Pikmin go back to their onions, all flowered up, powered up, ready for anything. Olimar heads back to his almost fully complete spaceship. There's just one part left to get. We say goodbye to the distant spring, taking off once more, and get ready for our upcoming last task. 9 days since impact. At last, but a single part remains. Since I've recovered 29 of the missing parts, the dolphin's power is near capacity. In the forest depths below, I see a region where the final part must lie. Clearly, this is my final trial. My life support fails in 21 days. Courage. I'd say we've got plenty of time, honestly. And we get to see the Pikmin totals for the day. We did not actually really grow any Pikmin, and we only lost 2 to battle. But we get to see that weird little dip and rise in the graph where we swapped Pikmin colors for a brief moment. It's very interesting to see. And considering it's like right smack dab in the middle of the day too, it's quite symmetrical, and I like it a lot. It's very pleasing to the eyes. But yes, that is going to call it for right now. Thank you very much for watching. When we return to the GameCube version of Pikmin, we will be heading to the last day and the last ship part. Until then, this is your good friend Sparky signing off for now, and I will catch you later.